I see. Oh, I see movement. What about you all?
Hey. All ready?
All right, we're good. Hey, welcome to the Hired AV Podcast. My name is Joe Way, and I am your host, and we are live at ISE 2024, and I keep wanting to say that I keep second-guessing the year. It's crazy, but we are actually in a real podcast booth this year, the Influencers Hub in Hall 4. They've got us enclosed in the closet here, doing some great recordings. We have the crew from Hatchett out, so we'll just go through and have everyone introduce themselves. So, Britt, please tell people who you are and what you do.
Awesome. I am Britt Yenser, Director of Event Technology at Moravian University and Hatchett Communications Chair.
And Erin, the same to you.
Yes, Erin Maher-Moran, the IT Manager for Classroom Technology at Johns Hopkins University Homewood, and also the Vice Chair of Hatchett.
And last and least, BC.
Could not agree with the least part more. No, BC Hatchett with Vanderbilt University, and with Hatchett, I am the co-founder and board member emeriti.
All right. So we're all here. I'm going to start, BC, with you because you came last year covering things for Higher Ed AV. Obviously, we do some booth tours. I got to tell you, we're 4 hours into this and we're rocking it.
We're stepping it up this year.
We are.
The training wheels are off.
We might actually be worth what we're charging. I mean, no, just we actually. Well, no, there's a little truth to that.
No, there is.
No, but we're kicking it off well. But this is your second year, so not just with Higher Ed, what's the difference in the show? What is the experience you've seen so far different from last year and now coming this year?
So I didn't think it was possible, but ISE is bigger this year than it was last year. And for those of you that have ever been to ISE before, think Infocom and then multiply that by 2, and that's what ISE is. But you know, this venue is fantastic. The layout is great. There's plenty of room for the 40,000 plus friends that are walking around with you. And then also really want to talk about the Influencers Hub and how that's changed from last year. It's much bigger, much more open. We can kind of see people walking around. They don't have us kind of boxed in like last year, so improvements all around.
Absolutely. I think there's a big focus too, because last year we were in the hallway, which was, was fine.
Yeah.
But now it's like we're going to be an attraction. And
it's a destination now. It's not just a sideshow.
Absolutely. And I've noticed that throughout. Avixa now has the little area. They grew that out. Giving Save their own spot, right? Instead of putting them kind of in. And I think it's great to see these initiatives take control. And it definitely does feel bigger this year, which is kind of hard to say that about ISE because it's massive. So I'm going to take something that's so massive and then go, oh, and it's bigger. And what that even means. But it feels like, does it just mean there's an energy?
Much more. I know we always talk about conferences are back, and I think without a doubt. But one thing that always continues to strike me, even with Infocom, these conferences always are not always, but they're starting to feel more and more like an end user conference, not just integration companies and buyers. It's end users are finally recognizing, hey, we're the ones that use this stuff on a daily basis, so they're catering to us now more, which is very, very welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. Erin, I'm going to kind of turn to you now. Your first ISE. So initial impressions, etc.
Yeah, I mean, everyone talks about how big it is. So I expected it, but it still hit hard, actually starting at one side at the main entrance, walking through each of the halls to the end, and it's a lot. And I glad that I brought various different footwear to make sure I make it through all of it. But it's greatly organized. That's the one thing that I really like. Not that Infocom isn't organized, but I like that each of the halls are themed, and it kind of lets me focus in on one general area at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think to me that's one of the cool things already. We've gotten to show you the shortcuts through places you can get it. You got the walk bridge. So for something so massive to be that organized is really what it's strange. I don't know. It's good. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. So I want to ask you a question because I get this all the time and I can never answer it right. So maybe you can do a better answer than I give. Everyone says, well, ISE, what makes it different than Infocom? Why would you want to go? So why do you want to go? What makes it different than InfoComm?
I think for me, it's that there's more focus on the technology. Not that there isn't at InfoComm, but I feel like because there's less education sessions, and it's interspersed within the tech areas with the exchange area, the influencer hub, but there's not as much of the feeling of I must cram in all of these classes to get my renewal units and stuff like that. It's more of a I'm here to look at the tech and to see like who's bringing it.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that is a big difference, right? This is glitzier and glamourier, I think.
That's a word.
Was it a word? I don't know. I made a word out of it.
It is now.
It is now a word. All right, Britt, your first ISE. What are your initial impressions, thoughts, and just, I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely agree with what Erin said in terms of the ability to see the show floor and focus more on tech versus I have to get to this other experience. So that's been very valuable. And for me, with it being such a large show, I'm realizing what I need to focus in on, both in terms of tech I'm looking for and my own personal and professional growth. So one thing I notice that I do a lot is I will phrase things as a question, even though I already know the answer. And I'm trying not to do that as I talk to people, where, instead of saying, I wonder if I could use this as blah, 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 just say I'm going to, or I would like to, whatever.
So what are the things then? Like, all right, so when you come, and I always say it's so hard, and people who read my latest article on, how to do a trade show, I realize, like, you can't take it all in, right? Like, this is a lot going on. You literally could not stop at every booth. Even as us, we're doing booth tours. We're spotlighting a lot of the vendors that are important for us and helping us out. And we can only get about 12 in the few days, right? So how do you have, what did Mike Blackman say? 1,400 exhibitors? So how do you prioritize that?
I mostly focus in on what my university is already using. So go to those booths first and see what is new, innovative, interesting that I can bring back, and then kind of see what is adjacent to what we are using, that it might be a better price point or might be more interesting or something like that, but really honing in on specifically what my university is looking for.
Yeah, no, and I think that's a good point. And now, and this is interesting, I'll throw this out to the group, host mistake number one, but how do you then balance, right? Okay, you've got a lot of small upstart. I love walking through the hall, like education hall. You don't go down the middle aisle, you go to the side aisle and you go, oh, there's a cool little, whiteboard thing, but you don't have time to stop at it. So how do you balance, I want to see what, I'll call it the big guys, right? The Crestrons and the Shores and the Sennheisers and all the displays and the Peerless. Like we want to stop by those because we use them. Mm-hmm. Then how do you balance the other person? Because maybe this is the only show you'll ever see some of these people at. How do you give that proper time to open up to new possibilities?
Homework. Like I kind of look and see what are kind of what like you said, the big guys have out there. Like when you come, you kind of already have a good idea of what their product catalog is. You've been using them for years, right? So you don't necessarily have to focus as much time on them. At least that's what I do. And that always opens me up to be able to walk the smaller booths and find those hidden gems that are absolutely out there at every single show.
Yeah, I like to make a quick pass and just quickly see like what's standing out and make note and then circle back when I have more time to spend and make priorities of, well, I'm never going to use that, or it's just not something that's, so I'm not going to spend necessarily time on it. But, then as it gets later in the week, if I do have that extra time, then it's like, okay, I'll come back and just see the pretty and the cool.
Yeah.
I also recognize that Google is my friend. So if I know I'm running out of time, I'll just take a picture and know, like, I will look that up later.
Mm-hmm. No, that's good, and also giving that, like, okay, what is this thing? And also, I think this was a great. Do your homework ahead of time. Know what you need to come see. Being able to say, hey, I'm going to walk. I'm going to give myself a little bit of time for the random. See what's there, and then just know the information is there later. Yeah, you saw something glitzy. I don't know about it. Take a picture. Find out about them, and then even you could still reach out after and go, hey, by the way, I couldn't stop by your booth, but I saw you. What do you do? And now you get on their email list forever. No, but this is one of the things that's hard. I mean, I already made the rookie mistake of myself of booking things back to back and then forgetting that I see 800 people I know walking from booth to booth. So you're late for everything. You're seeing everyone because this is where everybody comes in. So this is a legit who's who. We were out at a party last night with a lot of who's who's in the industry. So what is the thing, like, for, I think a lot of tech managers, and I know that I'm and us, we're an anomaly. We have access that not everybody gets, right? So how can other people leverage a show like this when they don't have that same, like, how can you get the most out of a show that's so overwhelming and has so much stuff? And make those connections, right? Like, even just a mistake number 2, asking a follow-up question when they haven't answered the first question yet. But that, again, making those network, because this is just a different type of show.
So I think it kicks off with use what you have already. Like, odds are, like, the higher ed community is already tight. So if there's something you want to see or someone you want to meet, odds are 6 degrees, 7 degrees of separation. Somebody is going to know that person or know somebody that knows that person and get in contact. And these companies are spending, not an insignificant amount of money on these booths. They want you to come and view and meet and get to know and build those connections. So just, like I said, just kind of use what you already have and build off of it.
Absolutely. Like, this is your chance to get to be one of those people who knows and, make an impression, get your name out there, and, then, like you said, the connections, like, take advantage of it if you can.
Yep.
Yeah, and I would say, like, identify your in with that person, and it could be as simple as you walk up, you introduce yourself, and you explain, like, I really liked your vibe, I really like your energy, I wanted to talk to you, and just let them know who you are, why you are approaching them, and then launch into it. Yeah.
Yeah. I totally agree, and I think this is those opportunities. You got to find your people, right? And like, we're hosting the happy hour tomorrow. I know no one's listening to this till after ISE is over, but we're hosting those meetups, finding things. We happen to run into we LTSMG and SCOMS out on the floor, right? There are people here, but you have to find those opportunities to be able to connect and make the most of it. And those after party things, all of that, I think it's really hard, but there are opportunities, and that is the difference with Infocom too, right? It is very focused on niches, when this is much less, which is interesting. Mm-hmm. Going back to all the halls are organized, but yet they're not niche focused, right? So I don't know. There was no question in that. I have a follow-up question to a question I didn't let you answer. And then didn't let you answer it.
But it worked.
You know what? This is great. Thank you for listening to How Not to Podcast, Episode 1. Okay, but I do want to ask you this. I know we are early in the show. In fact, it's 12. The floor's only been open for 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Has it only been 2.5 hours?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So what are the tech trends you're seeing? We're going to talk more about this, and everyone, listen to the Best of ISE recording that we'll be doing on Friday. We'll get more specific. But what are your kind of your takeaways so far, or the things you're seeing, Britt?
The most obvious is the transparent digital signage that they're showcasing as you walk in, which is gorgeous. Very clear, very bright. I would love. We have a new union building going up, and I have a vision of they're never gonna let me do that, but it would be so awesome. Especially for those applications of your big events. We have commencement on our campus. Could you imagine? You have this gorgeous digital signage as. I have a vision, but yeah, that's my thing.
Yeah, Erin, to you?
Yeah, straight out the gate this morning, Amelia hosted a little talk at the Influencer Hub, and she basically talked about the top 6 tech trends, and a lot of it had to do with AI.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like that's...
But we're not. Have you seen it on people's signs as we walk by booths? I'm not seeing it out on the floor. We're talking about it, but I don't know that we're seeing it out on the floor. Is it just about like? So that's a good question. Why not? Or are we just not? Have we not enough time to jump into it? But look around us. It's not on anyone's. Because I thought it was going to be shoved in our face. Mm-hmm. And I agree. Working in higher ed, AI is a big deal to us, right? Our faculty are focused on it with whether or not students can use ChatGPT. Those types of things. I'm surprised I'm not seeing it on the floor as much.
I think it's because it's becoming almost more ubiquitous, so that it's just embedded in everything. Like we're not even going to think about it soon. Like it's just AI is going to be there or part of it, or maybe not AI, but fancy programming, machine learning, like those sorts of things.
Yeah, and also I will caption it with, go look at the yet to be recorded, but by the time you're listening to this, will be on the site, Aurora Multimedia's AI programming, which is pretty amazing. Have a little bit of sneak peek, and you can go look at that too, and the video tour that we're doing with that. So there is some, but it is not, I was surprised it is not as kind of in your face that I thought it would be, because the one thing that our industry is really good at is taking buzzwords and shoving them down your throat without any basis behind it. I really thought we were going to see that, and I haven't. And I almost say that's kudos to our industry, right? Like, okay, until I'm actually doing it, let's not talk about it.
Yeah, because I think we talked about that. I mentioned that during the preview show, was like just they grabbed that AI word and they've driven it into the ground to the point where it's like I'm not even paying any attention anymore. So yeah, it has been a standout. You haven't seen it at people's booths. So
yeah. All right, and BC, did I ask you your tech? No, we have to go to you now. What's your tech? What are you seeing? What's your takeaways?
I don't know yet. I still need to do some exploration and kind of see. I know I've seen some, like Britt said, some pretty amazing LED technology, and I think that might be kind of what I'm really looking for this year, because I think the LED cost and deployment has gotten to the point where it can go into the classroom now. So that's kind of, I think I'm going to put some focus on that. But like I said, floor is open for 2 hours out of like a 4-day show, so still plenty of opportunity for me to kind of see something that catches my eye.
Yeah, no, I agree. I am impressed with the LED walls around here.
Yeah.
Like a lot of use of it. I don't know what that means for price points and all that stuff, but surprisingly, we've already toured a couple of the display manufacturers, and they're even going LED walls or very short throw projection.
Yes.
So that's interesting. That's a good point, right? So maybe are we in the inflection point that displays can be? I'll throw this out there. Are we at the inflection point that LED walls you're going to be putting in instead of displays?
I think once we can strike the balance of an LED wall or panel that can have like a glass whiteboard in front of it or something like that, because still for us a lot of the issue with like a display or a flat panel is that it takes up wall space that cannot be used as a writing surface. So if we can kind of meld the two together and put it behind a writing surface, because instructors would write on it if they were given the chance. So we'd have to, fix that first. But I think that, when we hit that point, I think that'll make it much more usable in our applications.
I totally agree. But and I think I'm starting to get to I'm afraid I'm going to ask myself my own question, and that is what my tech takeaway is. And I think you've all just kind of nailed it. I think that the display thing, LED was, and it just the show feels, and I put feelings into words, Joe. Is there's intentionality about people being here, right? And I don't know explain it. Like we came back, right? We had the This is where we edit, but I don't edit. We went through COVID. We all spent the last 2 years after that going, oh, are we back? Well, we're back. Oh, no, we're back. Oh, we had a big InfoCon. We had a big ISE last year. Okay, we're back. But we were back, but still kind of like walking carefully. No one's walking carefully here. I've been hit many times. People
Several
walking
times.
across, right? No, but I feel like people are going to booths, and it looks like business is getting done.
It's no longer about, hey, we can get out and be social again. Now it's like, okay, what do you got?
Yeah.
What do you got?
Yeah, and I think that is my biggest takeaway of this one, and it really encourages me, and listening to Mike Blackman earlier today at the press event, and just saying, already they're planning for the growth of another hall. They added one more hall this year than they didn't have last year. They're going to be adding another one next year. That's huge. I think that says a lot for our industry as well.
So I got a question for the group.
Go right
out
ahead.
there.
You're welcome to the BC Hatchett Show.
That's right. No, so like Joe was saying, we're talking about we're 3 years outside of COVID, right? I think we're all tired of hearing the COVID thing, but does it feel like AV has changed post-COVID? Because to me, it feels like we're not doing the same things we did back in 2019, the early part of 2020, and it almost feels like the show itself is like what Joe was talking about, an inflection point. Things are changing and evolving because this does not feel like a typical show anymore.
Yeah, I feel like, and maybe it's just me and my involvement in the AV community, and especially the higher ed AV community, that I feel like we've become more tight, more close-knit, and it's become about those connections so much more than before. Mm-hmm. Like, yes, it's absolutely about the tech. And I know that my department has evolved because we now have to support more hybrid events. Things are being streamed a lot more, being recorded a lot more. So that has, shifted some of the priorities and things that I look for while I'm at a show like this. And I think I'm sure I'm not alone. I'm sure because that is something that other schools have had to do since COVID.
I'm just thinking about the increasing complexity of the tech that we're seeing. And obviously that's a natural course. COVID didn't have to happen for us to continue to advance. But I'm just thinking about how when we first went through that experience, how I was basically mishmashing things together to create one solution. And now I'm seeing products, that's what I was looking for. It's that all-in-one solution that I had to put things together to make that work before.
Purpose built.
Yeah, no, I will echo those comments because I think that is exactly it, and I think that goes back to my intentionality. There's something about it. There's something about the customers here. There's something about the people using it. Even I'm walking by booths, okay, that I want to remember that, and usually I just I'll pass through. I'm very high level at these because usually it's vaporware stuff anyway or whatever. But I'm actually I'm doing double takes,
right?
And I think that's pretty good. I think that says a lot for where we are.
I think a lot of the fluff is gone. I think the companies have realized, okay, we can't do all the things. We're gonna target what we do and do it well. And it just feels like everybody has stepped their game up, and it's real competition, not imagined competition anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to take my show back. Thank you, BC.
Yes, all yours, Joe, please.
Because Britt, I want to something that I've been thinking about, and I want this question specifically for you because you've talked about on your show and just in other opportunities that we've talked about. These shows can be overwhelming for people. How in the context that you've talked about it? How does this show? And again, I don't even know how the right way to ask it. How does it reflect that? Is it overwhelming for people? Do they pay attention to that? Are there methods? I don't know. There's an open-ended, horrible question, but I think you get what I'm asking.
I do. I appreciate that question. So I'm noticing, especially here where we are in this influencer lounge, there's a lot of seating, relatively comfortable, so that's nice. Look around for the spaces where you can take a break, and those spaces do exist throughout the halls. That's nice. I noticed that it even feels very spacious. yes, it gets crowded as you're walking, but there is a decent amount of space in between the booths, or as you exit the hall from the booth to the wall. Like, it's a pretty wide gap where you're like, I can actually rest here for a minute. So take advantage, like, look for those spaces, take advantage of it.
Yeah. That is good. And I think that's something that the organizers need to hear too, because it is, especially when you get the really crowded booths, and it can feel very overwhelming. And where do you relax? And the fact that, yes, there are the Avix Exchange booth, there is the Influencer Hub, there are places where you can go and sit down and not just feel like you're plopping down in somebody's booth, right? But I do know this can be very overwhelming, and I've always thought about, like, shows where I go and I just feel lost and connected. And again, that's kind of why HEP was there, and we had just did an interview over for a commercial integrator, right? And one of the things that Jeremy said, he's like, yeah, I was over at I went out to your Phoenix Road show. He's like, I can't believe what this organization has become. Like, you guys, like, he's like, what you've done, and his words were, what you've done for your vertical and your people. He was like, that's not me. I wouldn't even, But I think that's what we have done as HEPMA, to say, okay, let's get that opportunity. And hopefully, and what's good is that the shows like this do pay attention to, okay, where are there opportunities to relax, to get away, to have some silence in the midst of the madness, and also, not feel there's 100,000 people here, right? Where can I connect with the people who are me's, right? And like me, and understand my problem? Because there is just something, right? You walk by and you see University of something on somebody's badge, you're like, hi, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now, one thing I like that, and I think it's probably unique to ISE just because of the climate, but they've got outdoor spaces that you can go outside and just catch a breath of fresh air, get a little sunshine. Which I think, again, that's kind of, isolated Barcelona, because you don't want sunshine in Florida or Las Vegas at InfoComm in June. That's just miserable. But I think that is one thing that is a positive about this show.
Yeah. And I don't know necessarily if there's a way to fix it, but the anxiety I feel when I'm in a rush getting from place to place, and I'm like trying to scoot by all the people in the aisles, like, I don't know if there could be a designated express lane. No,
Can you buy a pass?
Yes.
Express
standard.
pass.
Yeah, I'm like, I got the easy pass. I'm just slipping through. But yeah, it's the number of times that I'm like, oops, excuse me, sorry, excuse me, sorry, excuse me. And I'm like,
add to that a little bit, I have a formal request for tall people to please look down sometimes, because I have had people literally walk into me. Like, just, I'm at their chest level, it's like bonk, and I was like, I'm a person, I was also walking. Yeah.
That's all right. Better the people as we're recording and they just walk right through the camera, like completely oblivious. But you turned into like a linebacker. All of a sudden, you're like blocking. Yes. I'm like, I've never seen little Britt get so big, and like you were ready to tackle people.
I have a lot of hidden talents, and that's one. Like, actually getting people to get out of the way is one of my talents.
You got a low center of gravity, so that way you can get more motion.
right.
When you like went after somebody, like stopped them, and Jared just like looking like he saw that, and kind of like, damn, all right, she's gonna take him out.
Yeah.
You might have to play roller derby.
I would love that, actually, yes.
Absolutely.
All right. So another thing, besides the overwhelming show floor and all of the great things to see, ISE is known for its after party and its afterlife. So we will touch on that on Friday again. Again, we are not too far into it, but we did collect all of our wristbands. We are responsible and collected our wristbands, and actually went to bed at a decent time last night as we flew in. So that is surprising. But so impressions, Cava or Sangria? Which one?
Sangria.
Yeah, sangria. Like, I mean, I do love cava, but
Yeah.
yes.
No, I'm going sangria, 100%.
Sangria, yeah, and we had good sangria last night. I think sorry, listeners, that just went right into your ear. Hopefully, you're not wearing earbuds.
Somebody just had a wreck because they jerked the wheel.
All right, did the paella live up to its expectations?
Yes.
Yes. Although, I really did enjoy the cannelloni.
The cannelloni was
The cannel. I
fantastic.
can't believe you came to Barcelona for cannelloni.
Well,
It was like-
I can't eat paella, so I got to do what I got to do.
And the calamari.
Fantastic.
It was good. Yeah.
Yep. Then what else did we have? Oh,
Bravas.
the Bravas. Okay, Bravas.
They live up to the hype, did they?
Did they
Oh
live
my
up to the
gosh.
hype?
I could just eat nothing but potatoes while I'm here.
I know.
And if it was made that way.
Yeah. So people don't know. So obviously they're famous for paella here, sangria here, cava if you want. It's a champagne, and then Bravas, which are basically wedged potatoes, drenched in a spicy mayonnaise. It's essentially what it is. It's goodness in a bucket.
Pretty
right?
much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And tonight, we're going to the best, Mike Blackman's suggestion, the best paella place, which, sorry, VC, you're just going to
I'll
not
watch
eat
you
tonight.
all enjoy it.
You're
so.
going to eat nothing tonight. And so we'll have to discuss this again of how it lives up to, because there are layers of paella. So impressions of the city so far. So I'll start with you, Britt. Impressions of, and again, just the venue. This is a very unique city. It's very, it's very European, everybody. What are your thoughts on Barcelona itself?
Yeah, it's definitely very beautiful. I like the juxtaposition of what is modern and what is old. I will say, as I got from the airport to our hotel, I was like, I kind of feel like I was on a flight for 7 hours to land in Philadelphia. Like, it was just very similar to what I'm used to. But then once I got to see the more historic areas, I felt better.
Yeah, absolutely. Same question to you, Erin.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Especially down by the water, and then the Gothic quarter, just gorgeous. But yeah, I really like how the Fira is set up, and then it's convenient that there's a little mall across the way with a grocery store, and it's kind of like, I feel like even if I had not overpacked, because I always do and got to bring everything, if I didn't, I could easily find it quickly.
Absolutely. BC, you've returned.
Yes.
Now you're a local.
I am.
You know your way around.
I honestly
You-
think the Gothic Quarter could be one of my favorite places on Earth, because you could just take a random turn and just go exploring for hours and hours.
I mean, we were looking for the rooftop restaurant, and I took us in 9 different wrong ways until
we still made it there.
Until BC went, it's over there, and there.
Thank God for BC.
It was just all about the signage. I remembered the signage. No, it's just, I'm not really a city person. Like, I live in a 2-stoplight town, right? So big cities kind of give me the ick. But Barcelona doesn't, even though it's a major city, it does not feel like a big city. Like, it is spread out. It is very commuter friendly. You can walk anywhere you need to walk. The motorcycles might run you over, but that's a separate story. But no, I think it's in a perfect city for this.
Yeah, totally agree. All right, we're going to go ahead and land this plane. Speaking of flying into Barcelona. So last little question, and that's the important one. How can people connect to you and your shows?
Okay. So my show is Brave Space. It's on higheratav.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. Brave Space has its own Twitter that I'm not very good at posting on because I don't like social media. I also have a Twitter, Brave Brit, and I'm on LinkedIn as Britt Yenser.
All right, and Erin?
And I have to say that even if Britt is doesn't really like social media, she's amazing at it.
yes.
I have to say. But for me, the best way to reach out to me is on LinkedIn, and you can find me each month on the AdTech podcast on AV Nation.
Yep. And BC?
You can find me on Twitter. It's at BC Hatchett. I'm also on LinkedIn with BC Hatchett. I'm not all. If you send me a DM, I am not the best at returning them, but I will eventually get to you. It's kind of like Haley's comment. I will come back around eventually. So, and as far as podcasting, I don't have my own show. I just like to randomly show up here and there and see what happens.
That works. All right. And, of course, you can find me at Josiah Way on all the socials and follow at HigherEdAV on all of the socials. And, of course, connect with HETMA_org on all the socials. and hetma.org online and join the community. We're looking forward to it. We have a great week ahead. Hopefully you enjoyed this. This is almost should just be called Preview Part 2 because we're only 2.5 hours in. But we're getting a taste. Do check out. We've had some incredible sponsors come and help us, really spotlight our vertical. So check out all of their spotlights on. How many times did I say the word spotlight in that sentence? I don't know, but spotlight. At higher.av.com. Go check them all out. See the products. You're going to get a better vision of kind of what's going on in our vertical. And then check out the other shows that we're recording this week for more coverage of ISE. So I think that's it, and that's where I stop talking. And like always, all the opinions expressed here are not necessarily those of our respective institutions, or sponsors, or companies and stuff. And if you didn't like these opinions, then there might be better ones next time. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
I should add that. All right, I hit stop. We're good.
Oh.
Yeah, I stopped it. All right, cool. Thank you.